Today, let's look at my top 5 tax write-offs for Doordash, delivery, and Uber drivers for 2022. Now, if you identify with any of those positions, then you are likely an independent contractor, which is great because as an independent contractor, you are allowed to write off a lot of business expenses like your car. And of course, the more tax write-offs you have or the more tax deductions that you have, the less you will pay in taxes. So in this video, I will talk about what type of taxes independent contractors are required to pay, what tax forms they need to file, and my top 5 tax write-offs that you should seek out. Stay tuned. Hey there, and welcome to our channel. I'm Sean with Life Accounting, the accounting company that helps you save on taxes and build more wealth. Please make sure you like this video for the YouTube algorithm so more people like you can learn about these top tax write-offs. All right, let's go ahead and get started with number 1. What taxes do independent contractors have to pay? So when you become an independent contractor, you are pretty much self-employed. So your tax situation becomes a little more advanced than a typical W-2 employee because you don't have an employer who will withhold or pay any taxes for you. So then the big tax problem for most self-employed people are around FICA taxes. So FICA stands for Federal Income Insurance Contribution Act. And these taxes are required to cover your Social Security and Medicare payments. So here's the big thing, and here's why a lot of new self-employed people get so surprised when tax time comes. Because when you are employed, your employer typically pays about half of your FICA taxes. So it actually looks something like this, okay? You pay 6.2% tax for Social Security and 1.45% tax for Medicare. Then your employer comes and they pay 6.2% tax for Social Security, and they also pay 1.45% tax for Medicare. But when you are self-employed, you are on the hook for all the taxes, which brings your FICA or your self-employment tax up to a 15.3% tax rate. So of course, now most freelancers are super surprised when they see a huge tax bill because they had no idea of this high self-employment tax. Okay, but here is some good news. You can write off FICA taxes on your tax return along with some other tax write-offs to reduce your tax liability, which of course we'll talk about a little bit more in just a second. Which, by the way, if you are self-employed or you are operating a small business and you need help with tax planning or tax preparation, we are starting to accept clients again very, very soon. So you can go ahead and click the link in the description below to apply to get expert help when it comes to reducing your tax burden. Now, in addition to the self-employment tax, of course, everyone still must pay their federal and state income taxes. And the exact percentage of what you pay depends on your income level, your tax bracket, and the state that you live in. Now, I have a great video breaking down tax planning and tax brackets, which I'll link to above or somewhere in the description below. Okay, let's move into number 2. What tax forms do you need to file? Now, a crucial step in understanding how much taxes you need to pay is getting your tax form with your total earnings or income reported. Now, typically you will receive a 1099 NEC or a non-employee compensation form, which will show you your total earnings from your app, including your base pay, tips, or any bonuses that you got as an independent contractor. Or you will receive a 1099 miscellaneous form, which will also show you your total income that you need to report when it comes to tax time. Now, typically, if you work for Doordash, Uber, or any other third-party delivery service, then you can find your tax forms right inside the app. If you can't find it there, then just make sure you're checking your email because you will often get alerts once your tax forms are available and up to date. Now, once you understand why your tax bill may be higher as a self-employed individual and you have your 1099 form, then you're ready to learn about how to get the lowest tax bill possible by writing off your business expenses. So number 3, top tax write-offs for delivery drivers. Now, first, let me give a quick disclaimer, okay? These are some of the tax write-offs that you probably need to be seeking out, but by no means is this a comprehensive list, but instead, this should give you some good ideas of what you can or cannot do. Because of course, everyone operates and runs their business a little bit differently, so it's impossible for me to give you every tax strategy that's available to you. Also, it is very important to separate your personal expenses from your business expenses. So I like to get an EIN, I like to set up my bank account, and I like to get a business card specifically for that business so that I'm able to track and separate all my qualified expenses. Okay, tax write-off number 1 is the vehicle tax deduction. If you're a driver, then you're likely spending a lot of time in your car. And what you can do is write off a big chunk of your car expenses using one of two methods. You can use either a standard mileage rate or the actual expense method. Now, the standard mileage rate, in my opinion, is the easiest of the two because you simply need to take a standard mileage rate, which for 2021 is 56 cents per mile, and you get your deduction. So for example, if you travel 10,000 business miles, then you can take a $5,600 tax deduction, which is a pretty hefty deduction, right? Now, the other way to deduct your vehicle expenses is with the actual expense method. And this one, in my opinion, is more flexible and powerful because, well, you're able to write off your actual expenses. So this could be your gas, your maintenance costs, any of your auto repairs, your car insurance, your auto loan interest, your registration, and a lot more. In addition to that, you can take advantage of one of my favorite tax deductions, which is depreciation. You can get vehicle depreciation, which can seriously help accelerate your expenses and boost your tax deduction under the right circumstances. For more about this, you can watch my video on how to write off your dream car, or tell me in the comment section below if you have any questions about it. So which method is best for you to choose? Well, at the end of the day, what I say you should do is look at your actual expenses. And if the actual expenses exceed the standard mileage rate, then you should be able to decide pretty easily which method to choose based off of that. All right, tax write-off number 2 are parking and toll expenses. Sometimes you need to pay to park so that you can get your delivery done. And in the worst cases, if you're in a major city like Atlanta, it's not unusual for you to get a boot or a ticket on your car because you temporarily parked in the wrong area. Now, thankfully, these are expenses that you can deduct from any tax liability that you may have. And while it may not seem necessary to track these small expenses, you will definitely appreciate the deduction come tax time. So again, make sure you're using your business card for any of these small but very necessary expenses, such as your parking and your toll fees. All right, tax write-off number 3 is the cell phone. Look, you need a cell phone if you are a driver so that you can coordinate and communicate with your customers as needed, such as where to meet them or where to drop off their order. So a cell phone, even if you use it sometimes personally, it is still a necessary business expense, but you can only write off the portion that you are using for business. So as long as you are on the job and you are using your phone for work, then you can look at taking your total phone expenses, the service and the device, and then taking a percentage of it for a business tax deduction. Tax write-off number 4 is health insurance. If you pay for your own health insurance, then that can also be a tax deduction, just like employers can write off the health insurance expenses that they provide for their employees. So you, as a self-employed individual, can write off health insurance as well. However, there are some additional IRS requirements that you must meet, such as you must not be eligible to receive health insurance through a spouse or a parent. But as long as you meet those requirements, you are able to write off health insurance, including the health insurance costs of your spouse or your kids or any other dependents that you may have. Tax write-off number 5 are supplies. So if you are using any supplies to enhance or improve your customer experience, then you can write that off as well. A popular expense for Doordash drivers are to write off insulated courier bags to keep food fresh. And sometimes drivers will also have water bottles, face masks, or scents to make the experience better when they're driving around a customer. And as long as you're buying these things as a necessary expense to grow your business, like Maybe this is helping you to get more positive reviews and customers, then you can write off those supplies. All right, now since you made it this far, I have one bonus tip for you that is actually a tax strategy. And that bonus tax strategy is retirement contributions. So if you are an independent contractor and you have a tax deferred retirement plan like a solo 401k or a SEP IRA, then you can make contributions and shelter your income from tax. Now, of course, there are some limitations on how much you can contribute, and there are some rules that you need to be aware of as well. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and link a retirement playlist below if you want to really dive into all of the details. But this is a great approach for anyone who wants to plan for retirement and save money on taxes. But this is not necessary if you already have plenty of deductions from the top 5 that we already covered. Okay, remember, if you would like to work directly with us, then make sure you click the link below to apply to be one of our clients. We'll put you through a small application process just to make sure we can help you out. Otherwise, we have 2 more videos coming up next that I'm sure you're gonna love, and I'll see you over there.